Hello everybody, the Lord Root here, and welcome back to another episode of Back to Basics. So, I had another snow day today, and that of course means that we have plenty of spare time, and what I'm going to do with that of course is complete some of these missions. Now we're doing pretty well on the funds front here, and I'm thinking just looking at these contracts, I've got a number of things I could do. Certainly, the temperature scans will be next on our list of things to do. But we also want to collect science data as well, and we will have an opportunity for that. We will have the opportunity when the Moonmite comes in to collect that data. Let's go back to the Tellurian real quick, and let's get this guy going. Because we are pretty close to completing this contract, you can see we are already pretty close in terms of our descending node, so I'm just going to make that minor adjustment there. Let's kill this maneuver node and warp on in. And let's see how close we can get. In fact, I'm just going to kill this right now. Now we could go ahead and wait here. That's another 33 minutes. And in fact, I think I will do that. We'll just warp to our maneuver node here. And I will go ahead and get us in position. We are at the descending node here. And we just need to get this guy a bit of an inclination change. We have no fuel in this stage, so it's going to be a matter of getting our inclination just right. And then coming down to periapsis here. At least at some point, and extending this guy out to the proper height. So when these guys intersect, we will of course complete this contract. And there we go, that's in another 2 days or so. So let's go ahead then and focus on this capture here. I'm going to leave this guy here for now just because of the fact that, well, I guess in reality there is a bit of an issue. We are somewhat at a disadvantage here because of the fact that we're not perfectly lined up with our periapsis. But I think this will be fine for our orbit. We will have to maybe adjust our orbit otherwise. But let's go on to this guy here and get our science data out of the way. Now, we don't really have any science on this guy. And that is a bit of a bummer. But we have plenty of fuel with which we can trim this orbit down. I think that'll be a good start. In fact, What I'm going to do here, I think, is I'm going to do something kind of like the following. And let's see, apoapsis as opposed to our periapsis height. We're going the right direction here. So I think this will be good. And let's just warp on in to this guy right here. Keeping in mind, of course, not to overshoot. We still got a fair amount of things to do here, and that includes getting this descending node going the correct way. But that is a 5-second burn, so we will get this guy ready. And hopefully come around to completing this contract. And that was actually a pretty decent burn, if I do say so myself. We just need to pull our orbit in. That is, pull it in and not adjust our inclination any, because really, who wants to do that? And I think that will do us. So that's going to be in a few days. But now we have to focus on capturing the Talarian. And Calford is going to be doing some pretty interesting stuff here. So we are now getting pretty close. I'm going to just zoom in a little bit. And we need science from Minmus, so let's do that. That should fulfill one of our contracts here. Which gives us the opportunity to pick this one contract that'll be worth quite a fair deal if we can get it. That would be this Minmus guy here, this Minmus satellite. That is worth 176. Now we need a mystery goo unit. And that is definitely something that we will want. But we get a nice advance on it, more than enough for our launch here. I'm going to send the Talarian, or not the Talarian, the, oh, what's that thing called? This guy right here, Sat2. We're gonna send it out, because we might want the science out of that. And it shouldn't take too long. We still have 1 or 2 days here before we have to worry about any of this other stuff. We will target Minmus. Move this guy up just a little bit. And I think we will be good. Phase angle is a little bit steep. So we will have to take care of that. But, yeah, I mean, this guy, we've seen it get into orbit before, so I will just get this guy on its way to Minmus, unless something interesting happens, so I will see you then. Okay, we are back. As you can see, we have a decent inclination. Our inclination could possibly be better, but I don't think it's going to change much without a correction here. Still plenty of fuel in this upper stage. And we are just a little bit late. But we should have more than enough to get to Minmus. And hopefully for us to plot an intercept. Our inclination has gone down just a little bit. Maybe not the best in terms of our deal here, but we can get this guy out here. And let's just see if we can get an intercept of some kind. There we go. Periapsis is really quite high. And what would be good for us, maybe? Is, you know, it'd actually be quite nice if we could... We have close to enough Delta V for this. We have carbon escape. I'm going to dispose of the spent stage this way. And we got that weird bug that I always get. Now, if we could maybe decrease our apsis here, that would work quite well, I think. We have a descending node of 0.2. Let's just see how much Delta V that costed if we could do something about that. We will have, if I adjust this correctly, barely enough, I think, with that plane change to affect this sort of deal. Yeah, we'll leave it like this. Now, of course, I have no idea with this transfer stage, and I'm just going to leave it this way, I think, because if we look at our orbit here, we need to be way out here, which means... I mean, we're kind of sort of going in the right direction this way. To think if we add a secondary maneuver here to get us on plane, maybe that'll work. Hard to tell. Because, yeah, that could actually be quite an issue there. It's 194 meters per second at delta V, not the best that we could hope for. But that would get us pretty close to being on plane, I think, and that's... We'll do that. Well, so much time to kill on the way out here. I think we might as well go ahead and do this. One thing, of course, that I've not thought about, which I should, is let's just see how long this guy has before periaps. Because I believe, as it turns out, we actually do need to create a maneuver node for us to get captured. And so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. That would be the Moonlight one. We are still on an escape trajectory, so while we are waiting, we have 2 hours. I think we can briefly set up a burn here. Which burn does not really matter. We can get in a tighter orbit here, I think. Let's just add that to the list of things to do. And we're more or less where we need to be. While we're at it, we might as well get our EVA report as well. And of course, this becomes the most annoying part, where I try to get back in the capsule. Might need to point this guy north. There we go. I mean, we're okay here, I think. For the most part. Let's get back to our other guy here. And get him on course, and we won't have to wait on him for a while. We'll just go down to Sat 2. This guy needs to be renamed as well. If for no other reason than the fact that we've got 2 of these Sat 2 probes out. We're going to rename him, I don't know, Sat 2 Minmus. And I think we will be good here. This transfer stage will simply become interplanetary debris. Which is okay because we just don't want this guy to hit anything. Incidentally, we may, in the future, let me just check something as we get on in. I think we've Okay, that's 2 minutes, so we want to burn at 1 minute or so. There we go. So far, so good. Still at about 1.5 degrees of inclination, and that's going up pretty slowly. And we will, of course, make this. It's just a matter of how much fuel we're going to have left. So, yeah, we're probably before too long. When we get close, I'm gonna cut this down to half throttle or so. And figure out if we have the 19 or so delta V required to complete this burn. There we go. We will be short just a little bit. But that'll be okay. As it stands right now, we have an escape trajectory, maybe. Or maybe not. 58 minutes. We will go ahead and take this, I believe. Given our proximity to it, I think it's the best thing for us to do. So part of this 19 meters per second we will deal with on our own. That's a burn time of less than a second. And I'm going to give me some wiggle room here because of the fact that we will burn out. I'm going to maybe give myself, oh, I don't know, maybe a couple of extra seconds seems good to me. Okay. Let's eject this guy over here. This sort of thing is okay, though. I mean, because we're so far... Whoa, okay. That, however, is not. The important thing is this guy is on carbon escape. What is going on here? Why are we pointed in the wrong direction here? Our maneuver node seems to be a little bit glitched. which means we need to do some things to correct it. We are still targeting Minmus, hopefully. Let me just go back to the Space Center. Because that was meant to be a little bit better. I'll go to Sat 2 Minmus. The arrival of our lander has almost happened. Just have to figure out where our target is, or specifically why we are not targeting Minmus. Set this guy as a target. Okay. Let's just focus on it then. If you can't be bothered to set us as a target here. We're a little bit too inclined, it looks like. We need to make some manual adjustments before we return to what we're doing. Now, here's my thought. Maybe we could get away with lowering our apsis like that. And possibly adjusting our descending node like so. Either way this appears, you know, this maybe is a better way for us to begin these adjustments. Maybe a little bit less efficient that way. But it seems to be working. Can we possibly do any better on that? I think not. There we go. That'll just have to do, I think. That's in another 3 days, though. So we will do this. The Talarian and the Moon, or the OS4 Talarian and the MP2 are a little bit too close for comfort, it looks like. But we gotta get the Moon Might here. Let's just make sure we're charging. Indeed we are. Let's get this guy on down. And one moment. Sorry about that, somebody called with a phishing attempt, so I just hung up on him. Anyway, where were we? Oh yeah, we're right now trying to get this guy more or less situated. And it's not going to take us long. In fact, I'm just going to kill this maneuver node here. Given that we got plenty of time, I'm going to warp to... Well, that's interesting. No wonder I was having issues getting that thing set up just the way I wanted to. Yeah, let's warp to this guy. That's close enough for now. We are now 4 minutes in. 25 seconds for this. Which means we should burn about 12 and a half. Rather risky thing I did there. But really, we just want to burn through this. Get as close as we can to periapsis. Now, I don't believe we've gotten a goo sample up here, but that shouldn't be necessary. Because, I'm just going to lower this guy down just a little bit more. I think 30 will do it for us. Let's see, do we have time? Oh, okay, that's not what I wanted to do. We do incidentally have plenty of time, but not quite what I had in mind. Let me just zoom in here. Minmus is getting quite congested. There's a lot of traffic here today. I think there's lots of places we could land. Why don't we hit this guy right here? That would be pretty good for us, and we will be able to make our way down, I think, before too long. And give old Calford something to do. Now, of course, we want to be pretty close. Minmus is a whole lot easier to get to and leave from than the moon. And it's usually suggested as a target for new players. In my case, the moon came up first. Oh, we could have gotten that. Oh well. I'm not really that interested in doing that. I've got another mission I'm going to send for those temperature scans. So at 3 seconds, we will do this. Just a little bit more. I'm happy with that. Now, we actually... You know, we may actually have a little bit less Delta V than we might normally have. That's okay, though. We have a temperature scan. We'll grab that now. I think we should have goo. We do have a goo, so I'm gonna keep it. And I'm going to go ahead and get our gear down. Let's just warp over here to, I don't know, maybe close to here is fine. Really, I just want to be able to land. And about here looks good. These flat areas are usually a very good place for us to land, and we are now above where we want to be. Still moving quite quickly. But these are technically sea level, these flat areas, so they're easy to land at. The important thing will be, when we do land, to make sure that we are able to do so efficiently. So I'm just going to do some physics warping here until we get to, oh, I don't know, about 1,500 meters or so. Just for the purposes of conserving fuel. And we'll move this guy down into the center a little bit. And there we go. Calford will soon be on his way back. can plant a flag on Minmus if we want. In fact, I should dare say that it would be a good idea. And then, of course, we got a few things to do here. For instance, it would be good for us to go ahead and first of all figure out where we are. We're on the Great Flats, so we'll plant our flag and say, something to the effect of, Great Flats with Calford Kerman. Today is 2/24/2015, I believe. And, we still need to rescue Bob. That should give us just a little bit of time here to check our contracts to see if anything interesting came up. We'll take this data. I'm going to grab the data here. And we need a crew report. Let's send that out. So yeah, let's return to the Space Center briefly to see if we have more in the way of things to do for Calford. If not, then so be it. Also, let's get rid of these launch clamps. Get some money back. So far, we have visual surveys on the surface. We could do. This guy here, I think, will probably... Actually, this guy may not be so bad either. We have 4 days to accept that, though. I'm just gonna wait for something interesting to come up, I think. Because, I mean, that is worth quite a bit of money. And it's easy to achieve. And maybe because of that, I would just go ahead and take it. But we will be completing a bunch of contracts fairly soon. So let's get this guy back. If I can find it. Let's grab ourselves a temperature scan while we're at it. Transmit it so that we have it. And I think we will be good to go. Orbital velocity around Minmus is not bad at all. It's, I think 200 or so meters per second. That should leave us more than enough to get home. If we just circularize around here, then we will be fine. It doesn't need to be perfect. But we do need to get up into orbit. So this has turned out actually to be a pretty good Minmus lander. At least for short jaunts. Now when we upgrade our science facilities, that probably will be happening. There we go. We will, of course, want to do a number of things, and that, of course, includes the ability here for us to... Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, we'll just take that. Might be a rough ride for old Calford here, but... You know what? This is a second mission. And I think he can handle it. So let's burn at... Oh, I don't know. It'd be good to burn maybe at between 9 and 10, I think. There we go. Just a little bit over. And I think I'll create a maneuver node here that will get us up to speed. How's the Tellurian doing? The Moonlight is coming in at quite a speed, I will say that. Let's just warp to our Apsis real quick. There we go. Not much left on this guy here. MP2 comes up in an hour, unfortunately. Or fortunately, I guess it depends on your idea of fortune. And let's just get this burn set up here. That seems close enough to me. We just have to kill our input. And we got that contract. Now we just need to observe our materials bay. MP2 is going to come up before too long, in an hour or so. And we will recover Moonmite as well. Now, given the fact that we're so close in, I'm thinking the thing to do now, it'll take 5 days for us to recover this guy, but we'll create an alarm. We have plenty of monopropellant left, so that's not going to be much of an issue. But let's just recover this guy. And I will add this to the list of things to do here. What else could we do? Let's do Moonmite, or MP2 real quick. And let's get this guy out here. Now, MP2 is going to be interesting, to say the least. We have a Kerbal abscess here that we really should take care of. I mean, let's focus our view on it. We are going straight towards it. So how do we rectify this? Well, one thing we could do is we could rotate out like so. Let's try that. Well, let's actually, you know what, let's get down to our abscess first, see exactly what's going to happen, see if my prediction was correct, because as I tend to recall, we actually had a bit of an issue with that. And closest approach is not good here. There we go. Let's just warp on in. We are almost there. We got 2 minutes or so. And we have a periapsis. So what are we going to do about that? Well, let's just get this guy here to graze the surface. It's been good, and we'll have just about enough Delta V for this. But I think, you know, I think we are fine otherwise. that should have raised us just a little bit. This guy is set to collide. Let's make sure these parachutes don't deploy. And this guy is going to be reached in several hours. Very, very tight periapsis. I don't know if I quite want that. Let's just capture this guy for now. And that is going to be in 2 hours or so. We will get rid of warp to SOI. I don't know where that came from. Is there anything we can really do to change this? I'm going to warp back to... I'm going to add this maneuver node and warp back real quick. Because these guys are way too close for comfort. Let's see. Now this is just way out here. I'm going to, instead of this, I'm going to maybe go to periapsis. That's a 5-day periapsis. We're still good. So let's get over here. In reality, we probably want a little bit more time to deal with this. And let's just move this guy down just a little bit. See what our thrust to weight ratio is. I'm gonna leave this mission probably until next time. That's a 5-second burn, it looks like. Does not have to be perfect, of course. Close and delete on close. You know what, I will, before I leave, I will get set in S1 in its place. There we go. I'm happy with that. Because this will actually help us quite a great deal. It'll leave us something to do in the interim while we're waiting for our contracts. At least one contract. we should be okay here. Our orbital parameters are about what they need to be. Although we probably... You know, we would want to very quickly make this ascending node adjustment while we still can. Let's just do that real quick. Oh, that's the wrong node, I see. There we go. Let's see. Periapsis is about where it's supposed to be, so I'm happy with that. Let's see if we can get this just a little bit closer. I think that'll do it. Let's just point towards this guy and make it happen. Meanwhile, Sat 2 is going to be on its way, and as for this guy, we will prepare another satellite for it, I think. Oh, we already have another satellite on its way that'll show up in a day. And not much in the way of a burn at that. So yeah, I'm gonna just go ahead and... There we go. Will this work? Only time will tell. I believe we are just a little bit too low. That's another 2 days, so we will take care of that at a later date. Let's add that to the list of things to do. As this is actually in 5 hours. So we'll be capturing Sat 2, and then we'll be completing this contract. Until then, I think going to the Space Center and seeing what we have available in the way of contracts would be a good idea, because we do have quite a bit in the way of contracts that we can accept. And let's see, science data from around Kerbal. skippers landed at Kerbal, and that would be interesting. You know, this one's easy, so we can do that. And there's a 4-day limit on this, so we could very easily take care of this next go round. I am going to go ahead and take this. Or, you know what, let's go ahead and we'll do this one just real quickly. Because it's very easy for us to do. All we have to do is go to the Moonlight. If I can find it, the Moonlight here. We'll just jump to it. It doesn't matter if we have a ship out here or not. Just take a crew report and send it, and that will complete it. Oddly enough. No science from it, but then again, well, actually we got one science. We just want now, something more worthwhile. And this guy appears to be it, for now at least. We'll take this. Even though we could easily fulfill this contract, this one is worth more. And so we'll do that. And until then, this has been Nylord Root, and I will see you later.